Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode, if you remember, we got to play some baseball with the girls for gym class. It was quite interesting. Amane and Michiru both got into it and just kept going and going and going until basically Michiru eventually collapsed and we'll have to take her to the infirmary now. Oh, Amane. We gotta take Amane to the infirmary, I forgot. Michiru is fine, kinda. We don't care about her. Amane has to be taken to the infirmary. Where is the infirmary? Do you know?
その先を右。突き当たりまで行ったら左に行くと保健室があるよ。
We'll be there soon. Try to endure for just a moment.
大げさだな。た
She
かが
sprained
捻
her
挫だよ。
ankle. Don't make light of leg injuries. Soldiers get abandoned when they can't walk.
へえって。いや、まあ、そっか。そうだよね。怪我した子から死んでいくんだよね。
Don't worry, Japan won't desert you, and I won't leave you to die either.
ごめんね。私、重いでしょ。
Not particularly. 5 bags of rice or so, at most.
ちょっと、なんで私の体重知ってるのよ。
I'm used to carrying around heavy luggage on my back. I can estimate weight from the feeling on my shoulders.
あのさ、おぶってもらっておいてこんなこと言うのもあれなんだけど、この場合ね、普通は全然重くないよとかさ、なんかこう、女の子に対して気を使ったりするもんなんじゃな
I
いの
don't
か
lie.
な。
That'd make me a liar. You're lighter than I expected. Probably only look heavy from your height and that oversized chest. You had long legs, too. That must have thrown me off.
足が長いって褒めてくれてるのは嬉しいけど、なんか複雑。ちなみに、私の体重ってどれぐらいだと予想して。
My impression was that you'd be comfortably above 60 kilos.
そういうことを言わないの。
You want me to leave you here? As she speaks, Amane sharply tightens her arms into a chokehold around my neck. Look, stop thrashing around. You'll be the one crying if I drop you. I come to a brief halt on the spot and lift Amane's body, which has been sliding down my back, up more firmly around my shoulders.
そっか、今ならユウジ君、両手が塞がってるよね。
What are you planning, woman? In the next moment, Amane gently closes her eyes, still clinging tightly to my neck. She brings her lips close. Aww. Hey! I didn't ask for this. I take immediate evasive action in response to her suspicious movements, but Amane's lips nonetheless press against my cheek.
避けられちゃったか。
What the hell is wrong with this woman? I've got half a mind to drop her on the hallway floor, but we are dealing with an injured party here. I'm not completely heartless. I turn my head to the side to stare into Amane's face, finding her blushing in apparent embarrassment. I thought I'd met her for the first time at this school, but maybe.
何よ、人の顔じっと見て。
It's nothing. No matter how long or how carefully I study Amane's features, nothing comes to mind. I was entertaining the possibility she might have been some childhood friend I'd parted from in tears or what have you, but I'm pretty well convinced that isn't the case. Which would leave... Do I look like the lover you were tragically separated from in your previous incarnation? Is that it?
何それ、人を電波扱いしないでよ。っていうか、この学園でそういうこと言わないの。シャレにならないから。
Pouting her lips, Amane knocks a fist against my head with a solid thunk. What are you, anyway?
スオアマネ。
Yes, my short-term memory is completely fine, thanks. Every time Amane speaks, her soft breath strikes my ears. Is it just my imagination? Or has her body temperature slowly been rising while I've had her on my back? If she's suffered a partial fracture on that ankle, it might be that her body's beginning to generate a fever. Better get to move on. Again, lifting Amane further at my back, I hurry to the infirmary. Emergency case, doctor, get to move on.
どくって。
Still carrying Amane, I pushed my way forcefully into the room and shout for attention, but there's no one here whatsoever. Much less a doctor. Wait, why isn't anyone here? Everyone take a break at
う
once?
ちには保健の先生っていないのよ。とりあえずベッドの上で下ろして、
What?
あとは自分でやるから。
How can the school not have some kind of health facility? They haven't hired anyone at all to staff this room.
そういうこと。
Why did we go here then? Lower Amane onto a nearby bed.
保健の先生が来るって話は前からあるんだけど、なかなかいい人が見つからないみたいでね。薬とかは業者の人が来てたまに入れ替えてるみたいなんだけど。
How do I? Nope. It's this one. There we go. Aw, look how cute she is in the little gym uniform. Got those big eyes. Yeah, but without a nurse, how are we supposed to get the medicine? Like, how do we know what to use? Ugh, school. Well, fine. I'll take care of the treatment.
できるの?
I learned first aid at my previous school. I can handle something like this at least. I kneel in front of Amane's leg. You untie and remove her athletic shoe, then take her red, swollen right ankle in my hand. I'm gonna move it. Tell me if it hurts. Her ankle's slender, but compared to her uninjured left foot, it's clearly inflamed pretty badly. I bend Amane's ankle to the various angles, carefully searching for the location of her injury. It's not fractured after all, but I think this ligament might have been stretched or the joint capsule ruptured. Taking a roll of medical tape from the infirmary's first aid kit, I loosely wrapped it around Amane's ankle, restricting the range the joint could move. Then retrieve ice from the freezer, stuff it into a bag, and press it over the injury through a towel, relieving the heat of the inflammation.
ありがとう。ずいぶん楽になったわ。手慣れてるのね。
Well, just a bit, I suppose. I'm accustomed to treating sprains and burns at least. When I was a kid, I was getting hit pretty much every day, and I still get my fair share of injuries even now.
やっぱり優しいね。
Spare me. How exactly am I a nice guy? I treated an injury. Anybody would do that much.
そうやって冷たい態度を取るのは、私に優しいやつだって勘違いされると、甘えられて鬱陶しいから？
To be honest, Amane's words are pretty close to the bullseye. When human beings find kindness, they naturally take advantage of it. It's horrible, isn't it? People can be so cruel. Before they realize it, they've grown dependent on that kindness. They lose their ability to function without it. If I disappeared, what would you do with yourself? My master spoke those words to me when I was still just a child.
正直ね、保健室に着いた時点で、じゃあ俺は行くからって言われるのを覚悟してたんだけど。
Alright then, I'll be going. As I raise my right hand in farewell, Amane grabs my clothes firmly to prevent my retreat.
ちょっと、怪我をしてナーバスになっている女の子を一人にする気?
Am I the only one who thinks she should be slightly more nervous about being alone with a teenage male in this room? Which has a bed, when her leg is injured, to the point that she can't walk? What do you want from me? If you have something to say, then spit it out already.
じゃあ、はっきり言うけど。ねえ、私の彼氏になってよ。
I suppose I should have seen that coming. What?
聞こえなかったかな？もう一度言おうか？
Why are you saying this?
君のことが好きだから。
Since when?
初めて会った時からずっと。なんか冷たい反応。私の言ってることを信じてないでしょ。
Okay, then let me ask, which part of me did you fall in love with?
そうね。なんかダメ男っぽいところ？私さ、こいつ、
I think you
私が
came
いな
to
かっ
that
たらどう
conclusion
やって
yourself.
生きていくんだろうみたいな、そういう男に弱いみたい。
I see. Can't say I have a problem with reliable women myself.
マジで？それって好都合じゃない？どうする？じゃあ付き合っちゃおうか。
What does this girl think she's grinning about? I'm entirely speechless with bemusement. I hold my right palm to my forehead and run it up through my hair. Look, is teasing me really that much fun?
そういう言われ方は心外なんだけど。じゃあさ、
That's
彼氏が
creepy.
ダメならお姉ちゃんになってあげるよ。
What?
優しくて綺麗なお姉さん欲しくない？
I regret to inform you that we're not hiring big sisters at this present time.
いつ募集するの？
We anticipate no vacancies until doomsday.
なんだよそれ。
That's my line, idiot. Shifting my grip on the ice pack, I give Amane a slap on the ankle.
もう女の子いじめて楽しい？
Let's see. If you make it a yes or no question, then yes. I think I'd be perfectly safe. I think I'd be safely on the enjoys bullying girls side.
サディストか。でも大丈夫。私ってこう見えてもド M だから。
Just what do you want from me exactly?
ねえ、どうしてもダメなの？なんか女としての自信なくすな。
I'm not trying to reject you, but don't you think you're rushing things here?
時期尚早という言葉を使う人はきっと10年経っても同じことを言うよね。
We're not talking about politics here.
だから彼女は諦めてお姉ちゃんになるって言ってるじゃない。ね。
Starting out by asking for the sky, then dragging out concessions as a compromise in the negotiations? You really do think you're a politician?
そろそろ私も傷つくぞ。
I drop my shoulders in an exaggerated gesture and heave a heavy sigh. I'm sure this girl intends to continue this aggressive pursuit until I tell her what she wants to hear. It would be a serious pain in the ass if she tried to push me any harder than this. As a point of compromise, this is probably right at the limits of my tolerance. Yeah, I got it. If you want to play the big sister role that badly, then I'll go along with it. If there was a mirror in front of me as I speak these words, I'd be staring into the face of a man with the word reluctant stamped on his forehead. Might this have been a hasty decision? Indifferent to my shame and regret, Amane beams happily, dropping her hand on top of my head with a gentle thump. In grand big sister style.
ならばよろしい。これからはお姉ちゃんって呼ぶんだ
Oh,
ぞ。
we got a big sister and a little sister. Great. You know what we don't have? An actual sister. Don't think this means to get paid my head whenever you feel like. Although I didn't go so far as to push Amane's hand away, I can't say this is an especially pleasant feeling. Dutiful and clever dogs, as a rule, don't wag their tails when someone other than their master passes their head. Not my dog. My dog loves everybody. June 22nd. I prefer eating my meals alone. Better that way. No distractions. One thing, I don't have to go through the hassle of pretending to enjoy what I'm eating. In the first place, there's no cafeteria or lunch counter in the school. The facilities themselves apparently exist, but after all, you can count the number of students and permanent staff here on the fingers of your hands. We don't even have a doctor. Why do we have a cook? Spending the money to run a lunchroom for the benefit of that small number of people would be completely inefficient any way you look at it. Wasn't this fact that this whole facility is inefficient? So then you might ask, how does lunch work at this place? It's a pretty simple system, actually. When we arrive at the classroom in the morning, we can write the names in a notebook on the podium. Every lunch period, a supplier delivers food to everyone who signed up, boxed lunch catering as they call it. Of course, it's completely up to every individual student whether we take advantage of the catering. Because the menu is basically left up to the supplier, it's possible to sign up only when they're offering something you want. Personally, I haven't asked for a delivery even once. It's not that I'm worried about saving money or that I can't trust food made by others. I don't have any religious principles against eating meat either. I'm just not interested enough in what I eat to bother. They say it's a common result of being raised in a food-poor environment, and considering the time I spent living together with my master and her crappy cooking, I guess it's only natural. A full stomach and adequate nutrition is all that I need. Incidentally, The lunch I prepared for myself today is 3 plain salt and rice balls. My side dish was also a quick job. After frying onions and garlic, I threw them together to cook with some canned tomatoes and kidney beans, adding a packet of chili powder for seasoning. As my master used to say, humans ain't that fragile. You won't starve as long as you got beans to eat. But I guess going with nothing but the basics is a bit too bleak for me. No point in living like a monk, so I also brought an apple for dessert. Kinda feels like I'm eating nothing but red stuff, but there's no point worrying about a meal's appearance. This is perfectly adequate for my needs.
Oi! Yuji!
So now she's dropped the honorific.
Nani?
Don't just call me Yuji, woman.
だって私、お姉ちゃんになったんだし、弟にくんづけって変じゃない？
I don't remember giving you permission to not use one.
禁止された覚えもないけど。
Okay, now it's forbidden.
なんて横暴なのかしら。なら、私も交換条件出すわよ。
What do you want?
私のこと、お姉ちゃんって呼んだら、呼び捨てにするのやめてあげる。
Yuji it is.
どうする？ゆうちゃん。
Spare me. Not even my parents called me that.
いいからほれ、呼んでみ。お姉ちゃんって。
Ridiculous.
なんだよその態度。だったら私も呼び捨てやめないぞ。
Do whatever you want.
そうするよ、ゆうじ。
And? You need something?
いや、なんか地味に一人でご飯食べてるからさ。ね、一緒に食べない？
No, I'll pass. Take your volunteer work to Machina. Why don't you?
もちろんマキナも一緒だよ。マキナー。お？呼んだか？呼んだけどさ、その言葉遣いはどうだろう。お兄ちゃんもお弁当何食べてるのよさ。聞いちゃいねえし。おにぎりとリンゴと
Baked beans.
なんかおいしそうね。
Wanna try some?
もうそうやって何でも人が食べてるものを欲しがらないの。アマネ、パンちょうだい。これ絶対パンと合う。聞きなさいよ、人の話。おじゃないわよ。っていうか、あんたもマキナに何食べさせたのよ。
Like I said, beans. She just had a mouthful. Hardly a big deal.
豆って。うわ、何？その40代の独身サラリーマンみたいに質素なお弁当。
Beans are nutritious. There's no problem.
結構おいしいのよ。
Hey, you, don't just start eating my food.
確かに美味しいけど、これって缶詰だよね。
Well, the beans and the tomatoes, yeah.
私、缶詰も大好きなのよさ。
Look, stop eating it already. This is all I've got.
缶詰といえば、昔から不思議に思ってることがあるのよさ。みかんの缶詰って、どうやってあんなに綺麗に皮を剥いてるの？
They don't. They melt the skin off with an acid and alkali.
マジで？なんか体に悪そう。
You do know oranges have acid in them, right? Don't worry, the chemicals are neutralized. And they wash the fruit with water after. It's perfectly safe.
だったら安心なのよさ。
Hey, you! This girl's already halfway through my lunch.
ごめん。お詫びにさ、私たちのお弁当を分けてあげるから。ね。
It's fine, don't worry about it. I'm not desperate to understand other people's food.
まあまあ、いっぱいあるんだから遠慮しないでいいのよ。
With that exclamation, Amane brings out a huge wrapped lunch. Looks like she actually got a number of boxes stacked on top of each other.
ほーら見てごらんなさい。これが食の彩りというものよ。
Opening the lid, she reveals a box packed with a rich variety of vividly colored side dishes, practically indistinguishable from a delivery lunch from some well-established restaurant. I see. No wonder the neighborhood calls this place the Money Sink Academy. Pretty luxurious for a school lunch. And we can't even hire a nurse.
これ学校の仕出し弁当じゃないわよ。わ、
Seriously? You
言
made
って
this?
なかったっけ？私の実家ってね、神田で京料理の料亭やってんだよ。
Kyoto food in a district of Tokyo?
うちとこのお母はんは京都の老舗料亭の娘やし、お父はんは神田の料理人なんよ。
No kidding. Well, that's where Amane's infrequent lapses into that weird Kansai accent come from. And come to think of it, the short-tempered, vaguely masculine side of her personality makes a lot more sense knowing that her father's from a blue-collar neighborhood like Kanada. Kanda? Kanada?
あまねってばすっごいお料理上手なのよ。お肉が嫌いだからあんましお肉料理は作ってくれないけど。
And you don't eat meat, Amane? Now that she mentioned it, I didn't see much in the way of meat dishes inside this box. A bit of a surprise. I had you down as a carnivore for sure.
いやー、別にお肉を食べないわけじゃないし、料理もするけど、ほら、ね、お肉ばっかり食べて、これ以上大きくなってもあれかん。
Oh, your breast getting too heavy?
身長よ。
Oh well. I guess you can't exactly shed inches the way you can pounds. Putting back on me now isn't going to make her any shorter, but if Amane keeps a careful eye on things, it might help maintain the status quo. Bit of a reactionary approach, considering she's already pretty damn tall. But I guess that's just your typical passive Japanese mindset at work. As JB once told me, there aren't many Japanese who go to the dentist before their teeth start to hurt.
やっぱり男の子はお肉がいいよね。今度また作ってくるから、今日はこれで我慢してよ。
I'm not a huge fan of meat myself. And more importantly, I'll take care of my own food expenses. You don't have to worry about my tastes.
毎日マキナの分も用意してるし、今さら一人分ぐらい増えてもどうってことないから遠
Did
慮
you
しない
hear
でいい
me?
んだよ。
Are you not listening? Why are you so determined to stick your nose into my eating habits?
だって弟だし。
What?
だってお兄ちゃんだし。
What? What? What?
ね
What? I don't get it. In other words, they just want to play house? Or maybe somebody, said the principal, ordered them to become friends with Kazame for some reason. Either way, I'd prefer to maintain some distance. Can't be casual about this as a normal student might be. I have too many things I'd like to keep to myself.
だいたいさ、その若さでお昼がおにぎりと豆だけってひも。
I'm used to simple food.
そう、それそれ。その、いじめられるのには慣れているみたいなのもなんか悲しいじゃん。
Well, I don't know. Nothing special. When I was a young kid, I may not have gotten much in the way of luxury, but I ate normal meals. My current emphasis on low-effort, nutritious food is the product of the way they did things at my previous school. Pardon my French, but at that place the principal was eat fast, shit fast. In the morning we were kicked out of bed at 6 a.m. sharp for roll call, exercise, and running. Then it was double time to mess hall. We had a few minutes to eat breakfast. Take your time and you'd get a dressing down from one of the seniors, so everyone stuffed whatever food they could grab into their mouth and force it down their throats as fast as possible. Lunch was slightly different, in that the sheer amount of food they gave us became a challenge. The piles of meat and vegetables would have been hard enough to handle alone, but they'd throw you in a heaping bowl of rice as well. We were expected to cram all of that into our stomachs in about 10 minutes, washing it down with miso soup. Now see, for me, personally, I eat horrifically slowly, so yeah, that would be impossible for me, probably. Naturally, we weren't allowed to leave a scrap of food on our plates vomited up, and they'd tell you to push it all back down again. In other words, the taste was not exactly the first thing on our minds. I never enjoyed eating that much in the first place, so once my meals became outright painful, approaching food in a purely business-like fashion felt like the natural response. Nothing but rice and beans for lunch might seem sad to Amane, but I'm not fighting my friends for a can of food, and I've even got fruit as a dessert. By my standards, this is a high-class, elegant meal.
だいたいさ、その食べなきゃいけないから食べるみたいな顔なんとかならないの？
If my face is putting off food, I suggest you don't look at it.
もう可愛くないな。 綺麗なお姉さんがお弁当を作ってあげるって言ってるんだから、素直にありがとうって言っておきなさいよ。何よ。
Nothing. Yeah, you're right about this one. Sorry.
何？急に素直になったな。気持ち悪い。
Well, it can't hurt to play along once in a while. To tell the truth, I had a similar discussion in the past with another pushy woman. Ended up turning into an outright fight. A certain busybody German had this bit of a habit coming to the mountain cabin where I lived with my master. Mainly to subject us both to shrill nagging sessions. She'd barge in, clean up without even asking permission, make food nobody asked for, and leave just as quickly. I think the woman must have gotten some sick pleasure out of it. One day in particular, I got pretty indignant when she put away some book I was in the middle of reading. I ended up firing off the line, "You're not my damn mom," with predictably unpleasant results. Well, it wasn't exactly the first time we'd fought, and it's true that I found her incessant meddling annoying, so I honestly told her as much. Serious mistake. The woman in question, already a full-grown adult, spat out the supremely childish words, "Fine, see if I care." And then, whoopsie. And then, of all things, she broke down in tears, leaving me in a complete bewildered panic. Since that disastrous experience, I've learned a lot about how to handle women. The first lesson, knowing when to back down, is crucial. Don't resist a woman's kindness. When a woman gets worked up, why does one get through to her? And the most troublesome lesson of all, women of the busybody type, remember the smallest grudges through all eternity. I'm happy you're willing to make lunch for me, but don't feel like you have to do it every day. I'd appreciate it when you have the time.
ごめん。別に私、親切の押し売りをするつもりとかじゃなくて、
Killing
な
them
んて
with
いうか。
kindness here. I know your intentions were good, Amane. I don't have a reason to refuse that would satisfy her. Not one I can bring up here, at least. Anyway, I'm not looking to make the atmosphere in the classroom awkward over something like this. As for Amane, I don't know how she interpreted my sudden change of tune, but she sounded downright contrite about her aggressiveness. We're both being mature about things all of a sudden. Guess the two of us are still capable of being reasonable with each other. Probably a good sign.
とにかくお弁当にしようよ。私お腹が空いたのよさ。
あんたユージのおかず全部食べちゃったじゃないの。
もういつの間に誰だ。
いや、お前だろ。
Well, healthy appetite is a good thing.
そんなこと言ってると、おにぎりもリンゴも全部食べられちゃうわよ。
リンゴはイチゴの次に好きなのよさ。ほほー、こいつはとっても美味しそうなのよさ。
あんた今朝リンゴ食べてきたでしょうが、意地汚いことしないの。
I don't really mind giving her the apple, but I thought you said mocking they didn't have that big of an appetite.
まあ、なんというか食事のバランスが悪いのよね、この子。食べない時には全然食べないし、食べる時には人の3倍くらい食べちゃうのよ。
Sounds like a bit of an exaggeration. I dropped my hand on mocking his head with a thump. Where would the kid be storing all that in this tiny body?
私もそう思うけど、実際食べるんだもの。ご飯食べた直後だってのに、お腹すいたって言い出したりしてさ。
まあそんな日もあるさ。
ねえよ。
Strange. Maybe she works like a mole or a rhino? Efficient at absorbing energy from her food, so she has to keep stuffing herself or she'll starve to death.
話してると時間なくなっちゃうよ。とにかく。
For a second, I thought I saw a shadow fall across Amane's face, but she and Makina quickly get to work. They drag nearby desks and chairs up to mine, creating one large island.
大したもんじゃないけどさ。
Amane pushes one of the stacked lunch boxes at me. Inside, there's deep-fried tofu covered with red bean paste, accented with thinly sliced boiled daikon radish. Not to mention broccoli with sesame sauce, fried burdock root, Kyoto-style grilled mackerel, and chicken meatloaf. Together, they make an amazingly well-balanced and elaborate meal. Holding back at this point would be downright rude. I thank her for the food and extend my chopsticks to the sliced daikon radish. Mana's cooking is somewhat light on the seasoning. I noticed as much before when I had dinner in her room, but to my tongue, used to preservatives and artificial coloring, her food seemed extremely gentle. Probably because I haven't eaten real home cooking in a long time. It tastes even better than I expected. Delicious.
なんて
Amane, you really are an excellent cook.
だから何度も言ってるのよさ。
まあ、料理屋の娘だしね。っていうかさ、この前だって私の手料理食べたじゃん。
Yeah, true. The dinner in her room was a simple stew, and the main ingredients were just some off-the-shelf fish products, so there weren't any real surprises. But this meal has the vaguely nostalgic essence of home cooking. The taste calls up faded memories of the meals my mother served me. Honestly, it's a bit of an emotional jolt.
うちの母親がね、アホでもおへちゃでもかましまへんけど、料理だけは覚えとかなあきまへんえってね。
お兄ちゃん、私が旅さしてあげよう。卵がいい？
No, feed myself, thanks. Even eating with others like this is a concession on my part. This is gonna go way past ticklish and into seriously awkward territory. Not gonna thrust the omelet towards my nose with a clumsy grip on her chopsticks. I instinctively pull back and turn a frank scowl in Amane's direction. Hey, Amane? Do something about this girl, or so my glance was intended to convey. But instead, Amane bites her lower lip lightly, and an irrepressible smile spreads across her face. Grabbing a Kinpira burdock root with her chopsticks, she presses it towards my face, which I turned away from Makina's attack.
はい。
Brutus! Itu brute?
こんなに可愛い女の子が両手に花状態で、だよ。王様待遇じゃん。
そうなのよ。そろそろ空気読め。
It's my line. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Theoretically, I should gain distance and suppress each target individually. Step 1. Need a chance to take evasive action. Have to create some sort of distraction. Everyone in this room is a now potential weapon of last resort. My frantic gaze settles on Sakaki, sitting alone in silence, picking food from a catered lunch with her chopsticks. Sakaki, I'm begging you. Sakaki glances towards us out the corner of her eye, send her a desperate SOS with my gaze. Her own silent message follows. Please don't think you're going to drag me into this. A truly cold and heartless answer. A brief please try to eat a little more silently from your mouth could save my life, and you abandon me. Is this the way Mihame Academy's management treats its students? I've just witnessed with my own eyes that tragic moment. Long years thrusting into a superpower umbrella, forbidden from the developing a military, still shedding blood and sweat in defense of our nation, all come to naught. Sakaki, my friend and ally. In the end, was I nothing to you but a shield against the menace of Amane and Amakina? A sacrifice to suffer in your place when the time came? No reason to despair. Zami Yuji, from the start you were a mere pawn in this great game. A dog kept alive on the whims of your masters, and you threw away the right to expect mercy from God a long time ago. Didn't you know as much? It's too late now to think of the national interest. All that's left to me is to embrace the moment of reckoning, endure the endurable, suffer the insufferable, find the cool serenity of still water. Huh. Interesting. August 14th. That's cool.
こういうの、鬱陶しいかな。
What?
こういうさ、私の押し付けがましい仲良しごっこに付き合うのって正直しんどいと思うし、そっとしておいてほしいとか、鬱陶しいって思うかもしれない。でもさ、私はこういうやり方しかできないし、ユージの過去に何があったかなんて知らないし、知ったところで何もしてあげられない。ましてや同情するつもりもない。これはさ、 私が私を慰めるためにやってるエゴだから。悪いけど我慢しなさい。
I
と
thought she
い
was
うか
understanding.
諦めて。わかったら。
This Suamane woman is too clever at times. When she puts it like that, no matter how badly I want to escape this situation, there's no way I can bring myself to run away. And that ruthless way she cuts off my path of retreat is nostalgic in a way. Reminds me of my big sister. Then again, compared to Kazuki, I guess Amane's methods are almost charming. As that thought passes through my head, the tension naturally drains from my body, and I let my mouth fall open. The Kinpura she throws in my mouth has that same simple white seasoning, the same taste of home.
おいしい?
Yeah, the food is good, to be sure. What's with this stifling feeling? The soft taste of home cooking, a meal spent with others. I understand this feeling of harmony to be a kind of happiness. And in counter-reaction to the peaceful atmosphere, a dark thought spreads through my mind. I shouldn't be sitting here. My chest feels tight. Drawing breath is uncomfortable. I'm off balance. I know exactly why. I spent 1.5 years since my master's death keeping my distance from others. In that time, I've grown starved for this sort of contact. And I don't want to admit that to myself because that means facing the question. Do I deserve an ordinary life? Do I? Do I really? Do I have the right to an everybody routine existence? Ever living from a small moment of happiness?
いいんだよ。
Huh?
だから私の分も食べていいんだよ。
Yeah.
そうなのよ。男の子なんだからいっぱい食べてまるまる太らないとダメなのよさ。
You plan on butchering me, Makin?
あ
Look, I can feed myself, alright? I'm not some child. I've got to get used to this thing sooner or later. I want to believe that, I really do. But there's a part of me that just can't. Even now, there's a nagging discomfort in the corner of my mind. There's always a side of me that accepts and a side of me that denies. And in a fight, the side of that denies always comes out on top. I guess that's the first thing I should try to fix about myself. Is there a reason I can't stay broken? An obvious question, but I think I'll leave that for another time. Another time. Alrighty, and with that, I think I'm going to end the video here, and I will see you all in the next part of Fruit of Grisaia, so take it easy.